Iris Dasson was born in 1865. She is Alison and Shiloh Dasson's first child. Unlike most children, Iris and her twin brother weren't welcomed into the world. At least, not by their mother. It was mostly their father Shiloh who would care for them. Then soon, he hired a nanny to help. That seemed to work well in the beginning. While Shiloh was at work, the nanny would care for them. Shiloh had requested the twins remain in the nursery to stay out of their mother's way. She was drunk all the time and never in a good mood. But sometimes they would get out of the room and cross paths with her. Alison would curse and spit mean words at them. By the time Shiloh came home, it would be time to tuck them in. Iris would never go to bed without playing first. She was close with her father. He was always there for them. He would play with her all the time. She loved her father more than anything. She was devastated when he died. All she had was her brother. They would comfort each other over their loss. Iris also sought comfort in her mother, who couldn't care less. Alison would instead demand her to clean the house. Iris would do so in hopes to gain her mother's love. She would go above and beyond to get a positive reaction out of her. But nothing was ever enough. They were completely neglected by their mother and had nothing to fend for themselves. Iris spent the next 2 years cleaning up after her mother's drink episodes. By then their hair was matted and their clothes could barely fit. Dakota hated that Iris did things for a woman who didn't care about them. He always criticized her for it while she saw nothing wrong. One night he ran away. She begged her mother to help look for him. But of course Alison didn't care at all. Iris spent the whole night crying about her brother's disappearance. The next morning Dakota returned. Alison was too far gone to even notice him come in. Shortly after Dakota came in, someone knocked on the door. Iris went to answer and was stunned. The man looked exactly like her father. Before they could panic, the man assured he was their father's twin brother O'Hansey. It had been a while since he received a letter from him and decided to pay them a visit. They told him that their father had died and O'Hansey couldn't believe it. He was devastated to hear about his brother's death and hated that his children were living so poorly. He decided it would be best to take them back with him. It wasn't like their mother would care that they were gone. They would never see her again. O'Hansey brought them to their new home. They were greeted warmly by his wife Gloria. She was the mother Iris always wanted. Iris got to play with their dog Ruger. They ate a big dinner together. O'Hansey and Gloria set the living room for them to sleep in until they set up their bedrooms. They all slept in the same room on their first night. The next day their rooms were set up, and they were given a new set of clothes. Thanks to Gloria, Iris's hair was combed for the first time in years. They had fun together. They didn't have to worry about being yelled at or forced to clean. After a while, Dakota started acting out. He would criticize Iris for being so comfortable in their new home despite wanting to stay with their mother before. He would barge into her room to terrorize and pick a fight with her. He would even destroy her new toys. His behavior would leave her in hysterics. O'Hansey would comfort her and assure that he would talk to Dakota. But their relationship would only further strain as they got older. They would argue every day about the littlest things. Dakota often stormed out of the house and wouldn't come back until hours later. When he wasn't around, Iris would do her best to help around the house. She was grateful to be there and didn't want any reason to be kicked out. She was still close with her aunt and uncle. In her spare time, she would read many novels, but she soon started seeing a boy named Axel. He was her first everything. They spent every day together. He would take her to special places no one knew about. He was so romantic. He introduced her to his group of friends that he would often party with. They were very welcoming towards Iris. She fit right in with them. They spent a lot of time talking and drinking. Despite her history with alcohol, Iris didn't want to be left out, so she drank with them. As the party went on, the vibe had completely changed. Axel had one too many and started acting strange. He tried to convince Iris to let his friend join their intimacy. When she declined, he threatened to end their relationship. She didn't like this version of him. It reminded her of her mother and she wanted no part of it, so she left before things could get any worse. She wouldn't hear from Axel for a while after that. While she was bummed not to hear from him, she tried not to think about it. She would focus on her chores and read her books. Every now and then she'd spend time with her uncle and aunt. Things were still tense with her brother. One night they got into a huge argument. Iris told him that he was no better than their mother. Dakota was so angry, he attacked her. He stormed off and she never saw him again. Iris cried and cried after he left. Nothing was the same with him gone. Even though they mostly fought, he was still her brother and she missed him. She found herself turning to Axel for comfort. He was there for her when she needed him. The two of them were married in 1880 and moved into a new home together. Hansi and Gloria were happy for her. Things were going well for them. So, when he made another request, she complied. But that wouldn't be the last time. Axel forced her to do a lot of things she wouldn't. She wanted to keep him happy, so she always did what he asked. But it started to take a toll on her. Between his requests and the weight of her past, she had become comforted by alcohol. She drank a lot to keep the pain away. It had gotten so bad that she couldn't function sober. Soon she was ill. She caught a disease from being intimate with multiple people by her husband's demand. With no cure, she lived in agony for the rest of her days. Her last breath was taken in her husband's arms. In 1883, Iris passed away. She was only 18.